Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Sarah Hallis. I am a staff member here at SuccessWorks, the Experiential Education Coordinator. We are really excited to have you here today for our Taste of Success event that is focused on clinical research. So great to see a nice group of students here. I want to welcome Kristen Labs, who is a clinical research associate at AstraZeneca. Very, very grateful for your time today. And we are going to get started with a short bio. Kristen is going to tell us a little bit about her career path and current work. And then we will open it up to questions from you all as students. And for the questions, you can either put a question in the chat if you like, and hopefully y'all know how to do that. Or you can raise your hand using the raise hand feature right there at the bottom. So welcome. Again, great to have you, Kristen. Hopefully I did pronounce your name correctly there. All right, we'll turn it over to you to share a little bit about your story with us.
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Kristen. You did pronounce it correctly. And I'm currently a CRA at AstraZeneca. And just a little bit of a bio. I graduated from UW in 2012. Feels like a lifetime ago now. But I graduated with a double major in zoology and biology, and also got certificates in African studies and global health. So you can probably imagine that I didn't really foresee myself where I'm at today, but that's not a bad thing. You guys will probably find the same thing in your own career paths. But my initial plan was to work for a nonprofit in the public health sector, and I was even considering getting my master's in public health and epidemiology for a while there as well. However, I did not have a lot of success initially that summer after graduation trying to find my first full-time job. So I ultimately decided to use my zoology and biology background, and I began my career in an entry-level position as a study technician at Covance. I'm sure you guys have heard of Covance. It is just down the road from UW, but Covance is a contract research organization, which ultimately in the industry means that the sponsor, which is what we call pharmaceutical companies, so they're the ones that sponsor the clinical research studies, and they contract out companies to do a lot of the research, whether it's the preclinical or animal research or the clinical human research. So I started working at Covance as a study technician, like I said, and I was working on the toxicology studies in their animal operations department. And I was really just collecting, documenting, and managing all of the non-clinical data. In other words, I was running all of the large animal studies for various sponsors or pharma companies. We'll say it was a very demanding job. It was an hourly job, at least at the time that I was there. You know, animals need to be taken care of 24/7, and their well-being is very important. So that meant occasional late nights, weekends, and even holidays. So it definitely taught me a strong work ethic, but most importantly, it just got my foot in the door in the industry. But while I was in the animal operations department at Covance, our department had offered a drug development course if we were interested. I think it was through maybe one of the community colleges in the area. I can't remember exactly, but it was just done within our department with our colleagues. And that's where I learned about the whole clinical side of research. To be quite honest, looking back, Covance is a very, very large company, and I didn't even at the time, I had no idea that they even had a clinical department. So it just goes to show you that there's many opportunities when you are at these large companies that you might not be aware of immediately. But ultimately, I really became interested in that side of things, and I was able to transfer to the clinical side at Covance, which meant that I was moving to their office in Nashville, Tennessee. So I moved down to Nashville, and I became a clinical research assistant, which truly just meant that I was training to be a clinical research associate, or CRA, as you'll hear me say many times today, which is what I am currently. So during that about a year-long call it a training program, but it was a full-time position. But during that program, I really just learned all the aspects of site management and monitoring in order to prepare me for that CRA role. And then ultimately, once I was promoted to that CRA role, since it is a role where you are on the road a lot, which I'll talk about in a bit, I was able to become home-based, and I ended up moving back to the Midwest, where I currently reside in Milwaukee. But as a CRA, like I mentioned, I'm responsible for monitoring clinical trials. So I spend a lot of time on the road visiting investigative sites or just small research clinics or large research institutions, even like the UW I've been to, their hospital, as my job or with my job now. But just to clarify, as a CRA, you are not the one in the lab. You are not the one doing the research. You do not administer study drug to patients. In fact, you have no patient interaction whatsoever. So really from an outside perspective, it's more of like a QC or auditor type job, although internally we'll tell you we have our own QC and auditors team, and that's not what we do. But from the outside looking in, that's more so what I do. It's my job to A, ensure the sites, the doctor, the nurses, the facility is able to conduct a study, B, that they have the time and resources, and C, that they're properly trained on the protocol. And then throughout the study, just make sure that they are following that protocol, ensuring patient safety and reporting everything appropriately. So that's essentially what I do as a CRA. And after doing that for a few years at Covance, I decided to work directly for the sponsor, which is where I'm at now with AstraZeneca, which has just been an incredible experience. I've been there for almost 2 years now, and it's a place where I feel like I really have finally found my passion and my purpose. So that's just something, great to have happen in your career. So currently I'm the CRA on some respiratory studies and also on a heart failure study. But I've also had the opportunity to dip my toes in a few other areas that I've expressed interest in, such as oncology studies. And also this past year with COVID-19, I was able to work on a COVID-19 treatment trial, not the vaccine trial, but a potential treatment for it. So that was pretty exciting as well. And I've also been able to kind of do a little bit with some digital health kind of ad hoc projects, which is kind of where I see my future going after I'm a CRA. So I guess overall, I've had about 8 years of both preclinical and clinical research and just kind of a vast experience from all of that. But that is, I think, all I have for my bio. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. That was really fascinating to hear about your journey. And, one thing I'm noting is, you took a leap and took that opportunity for professional development with regard to the course that you were offered related to drug development. And it really shifted the trajectory, rather, of your career. So that's really interesting, just anecdotally. Students, we really want to make this a space for you all to ask any questions that you have. So be thinking about that. You can either raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question, or you can put a question in the chat. So I'm going to make a little space now to see if any questions are emerging right away, and we get to